Bigoted attitudes on Sanford and Son.
So this is a very easy household to run because there's only 3 of us, myself, Mr. Whitney, and Mrs. Saxon. And also we spend a lot of time out of the house. However, it does not mean that I will tolerate sloppy service. You must all take responsibility for your duties. Now, Hermione, you'll have full charge of the kitchen.
Yes, Mrs. Whitney.
And here is a meal schedule. And you have to understand that we like to be flexible.
Flexible? Now, what would that mean?
Well, breakfast, for example, Mr. Whitney and I don't like to have together. He prefers an earlier breakfast, except on Sundays.
Breakfast, Mr. Whitney, 8 to 9 a.m., Monday through Saturday. Breakfast, Mrs. Whitney, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday through...
That's right, and lunch will be upon request. Dinner promptly at 8:30, unless otherwise instructed.
There are no dinner dates here, Mrs. Whitney.
No, well, we like to eat out a great deal, so you'll just have to take that into account. Now, I have here a list of Mr. Whitney's likes and dislikes.
Likes and dislikes, is it?
Yes, he's very fussy about what he eats. Now, he doesn't like carrots, turnips, liver, cauliflower, cucumbers, watercress, kidney, or chicken liver.
Sounds just like my nephew, Andrew. Of course, he's only 7.
Bobby. Now, I already told you your duties. You have to answer the door when Spencer isn't available. I want you to start your housework at 8:30. And you'll start down here, and you can go upstairs at 11 if I'm awake. That's very important.
Yes, Miss.
I don't like to be disturbed by the vacuum cleaner noise.
Yes, Mrs. Whitney.
And, yes, I have a uniform for you here. You can go upstairs and try it on right away.
Yes, ma'am.
If it doesn't fit, tell me, and I'll call the department store. Go on.
Yes.
Now, Hermione, you better go to the kitchen because Mr. Whitney will be home at 7. We're going to have 2 guests. And, I have a suggested menu right here.
No carrots, I see.
No. So you better get started, and I'll be in the kitchen later to check on you.
Not first.
All right, Spencer. I'll need the car at 2:30. I want to go shopping.
Very good, Mrs. Whitney. I'll wash it this morning.
Good, good. I hate to drive in front of Bennett's with a dirty car.
I'll get started right away. Excuse me.
Thank you. Well, my dear, you've been rich and you've been poor. You have to admit, rich is better.
That watch. I'll get you out of this mess, Gavin. I promise I will.
Edge of Night is brought to you by Duncan Hines Layer Cake Mixes, Light and Moist Deluxe 2 and Extra Moist Pudding Recipe, and by new Formula Era, a new combination of powerful cleaners concentrated into 1/4 cup.
When we set out to improve a great laundry detergent, we wanted to keep the powerful cleaners that work on ordinary dirts, that cut through food stains, that get out grease and oil, and add powerful cleaners that clean collar soil even better than before. So that's what we did, all in the concentrated 1/4 cup called New Formula Era. So effective, it cleans clean through. Watch Era clean through collar soil, taco grease, and motor oil. We treat only the top with a teaspoon of Era, rub, run under warm water, and look. New Era cleans clean through. That's the kind of power you get in Era's little 1/4 cup. New Era, power that cleans clean through.
Could you bake a better cake than a pastry chef?
Crazy me. There I am with the head chef of the 5-star Box Street restaurant. I let him challenge me with his cake against my Duncan Hines. I was really nervous because the judge was Augustine Page, owner of the Box Street.
Excellent. Very excellent taste, indeed.
Chef Rudy looks so smug.
Let me have a taste of the other one. Excellent, too. Eh? Flavor and a little bit more moisture. Can I see? Duncan Hines. Oh.
Good try.
Rudy, have a taste.
Excellent. Duncan Hines cakes. So moist and delicious, you can make them better than a pastry chef's cake.
Well, this is unusual, isn't it? Jody being up and out of the house before we are.
Yes, I know. She had an early appointment with Gavin's lawyer, Cliff Nelson.
That's right. Cliff will probably want to call her at the trial. She's probably the most important witness there is, even though she wasn't present at the shooting.
I suppose so. Miles?
Yeah.
You still haven't told me about last night, about what happened.
Well, I thought I did. Oh, you were probably way too sleepy to hear my humble apologies. I'm gonna have to call Mike and Nancy later to apologize for not showing up.
What I meant was, you haven't told me about Jinx Avery and why you had to take her home.
Oh, well, for one thing, it turned out to be different from what Derek thought. Jinx apparently did not steal that bracelet. She paid for it. She bought it.
You're kidding. You know? She must have really wanted it.
Well, that's what she said. She said if she wanted it badly enough to steal it, she might as well pay for it. I suppose that's why the jeweler was so willing to drop the charges.
Oh. Well, why didn't she tell Derek the truth from the beginning instead of making him think that she'd stolen it?
I think she found it amusing.
Amusing? I'm sorry, but I don't. Especially since it kept you from our dinner date.
Well, I probably still could have made it, except that her laughter very quickly turned to panic and then tears. And I just could not leave her alone in that place sobbing her heart out. I had to take her home.
Oh, yes. I know you, Miles Cavanaugh.
Do you, baby?
Yes. You are such a soft-hearted thing when it comes to people's illness. I shouldn't complain. That's how you met me.
Well, as a matter of fact, you should be able to sympathize with Jinx's plight. You were facing the same sort of thing not too long ago. Except in your case...
Can't there be a happy ending for her, too?
No, I don't think so. There's no known cure for this disease, as there was for yours.
That is so terribly sad. I suppose that's why she wants to indulge herself on things like $5,000 diamond bracelets.
Oh, so she wants to grab out and get everything she's ever wanted out of life until her life... Well, listen, do you want some more coffee?
Yeah, here, I'll get it. You know, there is one good thing about all this.
What is that?
She's able to afford it.
Well, that's true. That bracelet must have cost an awful lot of money. And yet...
What?
It just occurred to me I didn't think she was that well off financially. She lives in a very low-rent district. How did she afford that bracelet?
Anything you want to say to me, you can say in front of Dee Dee. She'll be helping me with this case.
I hope that's okay with you.
Oh, no, that's fine. I want Gavin to get all the help he can.
Gavin gets the benefit of 2 giant legal brains for the price of 1.
Don't take him too seriously. Actually, Cliff will be handling Gavin's case. I'll just be assisting him in any way I can.
Thank you, Dee Dee. I appreciate it.
Well, let's get started. Tell us what happened.
Cliff, I don't know what else I can tell you about that day. I have repeated my story a dozen times, to you, to the police, to the press, to anybody who listened.
Jody, there's still a very crucial issue in this case, and even us giant legal brains can't help Gavin until it's resolved.
Yeah, I know what it is. Gavin tells one story and the police tell another.
No, the medical report tells another. It says the shot was fired from quite a distance away. Gavin says something else.
I'm sorry. I still believe Gavin.
Jody, Mike Carr went to prison to see Gavin, and I was there.
And?
Well, Mike is going to prosecute this case. I think he's on our side, figuratively, but I think he went there to warn Gavin that if he persists with this story, Mike has no choice but to destroy his credibility.
The jury will simply think that Gavin is lying, that he refuses to accept any responsibility for his actions.
Gavin needs the sympathy of that jury from the opening day of the trial to the day I make my summation.
So what is it you're getting at?
Well, you trust your brother-in-law, don't you?
With my life.
Well, Miles is going to be called as a witness, and he's going to have to say that it's his own autopsy which says that Gunther Wagner was shot from at least 10 feet away. And when he does, that's the end of our case, Jody. And that's the end of Gavin.
Jody, Cliff got absolutely nowhere with Gavin.
and trying to make him understand the seriousness of this problem. We're at a dead end, almost before we get started.
And that's why you wanted to see me this morning, isn't it? You want me to change Gavin's mind.
Well, don't worry about that. Come on, tell me what's going on there. Star, of course I got the letter. How else would I know it was D for decision, right? Come on. Yeah? Oh, that's terrific. Yeah, I know. It doesn't mean much unless the show's a hit. But look, with you standing up there right out front, how could it be anything else? Oh. Yeah, I understand. Look, just try and call me whenever you can, okay? I'm real happy for you, baby. Sure I will. So long.
I can't tell whether that's good news or bad news.
Good. No, really, it's terrific. Star got the part in the show. She's the second lead, and they start rehearsals this afternoon.
Right, that's great. Well, hey, next time you see her, tell her I say congratulations.
I will do just that, whenever next time is. I was just informed that she's going to be all tied up for the next several weeks.
That's only natural, right?
Yeah, of course, she's not sure it's going to be a hit. And if it is...
If it is, you probably will be seeing her even less than you do now, right?
Unless I move this desk to New York City.
Are you kidding? I'm just getting used to you.
You know, Damien, I feel real strange. My wife has the opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm not even sure that I want it to succeed.
Detective Tyler,
Oh, what is it?
you left this in your old desk. We found it in the back of a drawer.
Oh, thanks, gorgeous.
You're welcome. Gorgeous.
Hey. What's that?
Oh, it's just some old files. I'd forgotten I even had these.
Yeah, well, that doesn't seem to make you feel too happy.
Yeah, it's a very personal letter. Didn't make me too happy the first time I read it either. You know, I think I might know somebody who'd be interested in this letter.
The Glamour Gals collection. Here's Danny in silver shimmer. You can pose her, comb her hair, play with her in the party place, sold separately. A spin-around house with 3 rooms and movable furniture.
Let's fix the furniture for the party. Then we have to prepare the barbecue. Look, Danny's dancing.
Glamour Gals. The Glamour Gals collection party place. You have to put it together. Danny in silver shimmer, sold separately. New from Kenner.
I've been on my feet 6 hours. You know how I feel? I feel like dancing.
Sheer energy.
It makes me feel like dancing.
Sheer energy.
It makes my legs feel that good. Sheer Energy pantyhose look terrific. And they stimulate, refresh, and massage my legs. So I really feel like dancing.
Try Sheer Energy, because nothing beats a great pair of legs.
Police officer.
Hi, Calvin.
Well, look, aren't you gonna ask me how I am?
How are you, Calvin?
I'm glad you asked. Actually, I'm not too terrific at the moment, but I don't want you to start getting the impression that I only call you when I'm down in the dumpster.
Well, what are friends for?
Look, I'm gonna make this brief. I want to see you, Dee Dee.
You can always make an appointment with my secretary. Come to think of it, I don't have a secretary.
Well, in that case, maybe I can make one with you directly.
Oh, Calvin.
Look, before you say no, it's about business.
In what way?
Well, you're defending Gavin Wiley, right? You and Cliff?
Yes?
Well, I'm the arresting officer, and I'm his best friend. I mean, I really think you gotta talk to me, Sherry.
Counselor.
Sorry. I meant, I think you should hear my views on the case, counselor.
Look, Calvin, I'm just playing second banana to Cliff on this case. Why don't you talk to him directly?
Well, if you want to know that, I'll answer it. Because when I talk, Dee Dee, I want to look at you.
Health experts don't always agree on what's best, but many of them believe we should keep our serum cholesterol from rising above normal limits. Now, how do we do that? Well, in this university study, 43 families on individual eating plans reduced serum cholesterol an average of 9.6% in 3 weeks. Did they live on boiled rice? Not at all. They cut down on foods that were high in cholesterol and saturated fats. They ate more fish, more chicken, more fruit, more vegetable. And for cooking and salad dressings, they used Puritan oil because it is low in saturated fats and contains no cholesterol. This is the oil. I think you should try it. This is the name. I think you should remember it. Puritan knows you're fighting serum cholesterol. Puritan wants you to win.
My mom always says...
A penny saved is a penny earned.
I save with this.
Waste not, want not. Dawn handles more grease for the money.
Are you sure?
Am I your mother? Look, I've washed greasy dishes in an average bargain liquid, and Dawn. See, Dawn handles more grease for the money. Keeps grease away from dishes.
With Dawn, dishes look great. My hands don't feel greasy.
They'd look better with a wedding ring.
Next time, call.
Dawn, handle more grease for your money.
That's what Bobby said, that she saw Sky with the pocket watch at Sid's, and the tune that it played was not Old Lang Syne.
Gavin, that's great. That could mean...
Hold it. All it may mean is that Bobby Gerard is tone deaf.
Oh, she must know Auld Lang Syne. Everybody does.
Of course, but let's face it, that's a tiny music box and a small watch.
Okay, but if it is the same thing, that it could be the same theory. I mean, that there are 2 pocket watches.
Sure, it may mean that, but who knows for sure? Even if we believe it, what are we going to do about it? Go running to my car and Derek Mallory and start yelling about Sky Whitney's watch all over again?
Forget it. They won't even listen to us after what happened last time.
It'd be great if we could prove that Sky still has the watch that Gunther showed you, but I'm afraid that we blew the one chance we had, Jody.
God, life is so unfair.
I don't blame life. I blame Sky Whitney. I am convinced that he was in that studio, and he's the one that knocked Miles unconscious to make sure that Gunther died. But just believing it is not going to get me out of this jam.
Maybe there's something else you can do.
Yeah, like what?
It's not going to be easy. But, Gavin, you can't go on saying that you were struggling with Gunther for the gun and that he was the one that pulled the trigger. Listen to me. You just have to make sure that the story agrees with the facts.
You don't believe me either.
Sweetheart, I didn't say that.
You're just making believe that you believe me. Trying to humor me. Oh, thanks a lot. Make me feel better.
Gavin, it doesn't matter what I believe, only what a jury will believe.
To hell with what the jury believes. I'm telling you the truth. Why would I lie to you now?
I know you're telling me the truth, and I do believe you. All I know is what Mike and Cliff and Miles and everybody else is telling me. That you are making things harder for yourself, that you're your own worst enemy.
Someone asked you to tell me that. Come on, be honest.
Yes, somebody asked me to do this. Only I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was the right thing.
To lie. To save myself.
Don't put it that way. The jury is going to think you're lying if you say that you struggled with Gunther only because of the autopsy. It just doesn't sound true anymore. Can't you imagine how it's going to be for me in court? Watching my own brother-in-law helping them to send the man I love to prison.
Okay, miss, it's time to go now.
I just don't know what to do. I am damned one way or the other.
hello, Spencer. How come you're not driving the boss around today?
Mrs. Whitney is expecting you, sir.
Hello, Mrs. Whitney.
Hello. Spencer, why don't you go tell Hermione to bring us some coffee?
Yes, ma'am, if I can get in the kitchen.
Oh, you have to knock first. We have a new cook.
Oh, really? Well, I told you I wouldn't take up much of your time.
Oh, well, sit down, please. You said it was very important.
Well, it may be that it's just important to me. I don't know. What I have here is a letter that my father wrote just before his death.
A suicide note?
I guess you could call it that. Although I didn't realize that was the way it was intended when I received it. Anyway, I thought since we had that conversation about my father that you might be interested in hearing what he wrote.
I don't know. I'm not really big on depressing things.
It's not a very long letter.
All right.
It says, Dear Damien, I'm sure you're surprised to hear from me. It's been a long time since I've had the occasion to write you. Well, he goes on to talk a lot about us, but he says, I know I've been a shamefully inarticulate parent, perhaps shameful in other ways as well. Certainly you could call me neglectful these past few years while I've had to give all that I had to give of myself to your mother. I know you have forgiven me for that neglect, but now I have committed a crime for which there is no forgiveness.
Sounds like he's admitting it.
I've brought shame on you, Damien, that I can never erase. I am guilty. What you've heard about me from the others is true. I am responsible for the loss of that document, totally and completely responsible.
Oh, my God.
Please hear the rest. I was the one who decided to take those classified documents out of the office. I was the one who decided to ignore the strict rules of secrecy and bring them home with me. I knew better, but I just did it the same. When I realized that I had lost or misplaced one of them, probably the most important document of all, I knew that no one else could be blamed. I'm guilty, Damien. And again, my crime is neglect. But this time, the crime of neglect is tantamount to treason. The guilt is just as great. The penalty must be just as severe. I'm sure you know the penalty for treason. The historic penalty.
Big news for raisin lovers.
Even more raisins in Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
2 bigger scoops of raisins in Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Jimmy's got the news, too.
He's telling everyone he can.
2 bigger scoops of raisins.
In Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
2 bigger scoops give Kellogg's Raisin Bran even more raisin flavor.
You can't keep good news to yourself when you're a raisin fan.
2 bigger scoops of raisins.
In Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
If you're looking for a great donut, where do you look? The donuts in supermarkets could have been there for a week. And the variety, there isn't any. And frozen donuts, well, at Dunkin' Donuts, we make our donuts fresh by hand, day and night. We'd never serve you donuts that are more than hours old, because they usually don't stay around that long anyway.
You possess a powerful force. No, it possesses me.
What's happening to your face?
Tonight, a psychic foresees Jack McGee's murder.
Do you understand that my father felt so guilty about the loss of that document that he condemned himself to pay the price?
That's awful. It sounds like all he did was lose the papers.
Well, I'm not saying that was the only reason. He'd been in a state of deep depression ever since my mother's death.
Well, just the same, I mean, if I were punished every time I lost something, believe me, I'd be in big trouble.
Well, it was how it was lost that matters. He should never have taken that document home with him. I still don't understand why he did. It doesn't make any sense. He's been around secret documents all his life.
But do you know why?
Of course not. I wasn't there. But Jefferson Brown was there.
That was your father's assistant, right?
Yes. And he knew how wrong and how risky it was for my father to take those documents off the premises.
Well, what if he didn't know?
But he knew everything my father did.
How do you know that? You said you weren't even there.
No. I was in Boston. That's where I received this letter.
Well, then you couldn't possibly know. It sounds to me like you're just making up an alibi, an excuse for your father.
Well, maybe I am. But if my father was guilty of the sin of neglect, it was neglecting to recognize that Jefferson Brown was a man who could not be trusted. Somehow, Jefferson Brown managed to remove one of those documents before my father took them home.
Look, I really don't want to hear any more of this. I mean, I'm very sorry about your father, but I have things to do today, okay?
Okay. Sorry I took so much of your time. Thanks very much for listening to me.
Fisher-Price knows that toddlers have very short legs and a very big urge to go places. So we designed our riding toys to take them there. Once they get going, even beginners learn to steer and make really sharp turns. Our riding toys are stronger than they have to be because they're going to go as fast as those little legs can carry them. The Riding Toys by Fisher-Price.
You're taking Tylenol for that cold? You'll get more help with Dristan AF.
AF? What's that mean?
A is in aspirin, F is in free, aspirin-free. And it relieves twice as many of these cold symptoms as Tylenol.
She's right. Look, Tylenol helps these 6.